guys, I share Shot Legends. Welcome to the video. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you're going through something and you need them out there today. Today, we're going to talk about an epic that I've been sleeping on for years. Well, listen, I've always known this dude was good, right? I shouldn't say dude, this cat that I thought was a rat, right? This cat, this Spynx, to be particular. I always thought he was good. He always surprised me pleasantly, right, when I put him in my teams. But today I want to take a deep dive into what makes this little pussycat an excellent legendary in disguise when we talk about Void epic champions in the game. Also, guys, make sure you're tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to build this dude in a full-out nuker build, and I'm going to compare the damage as opposed to the stun build that we have him in right now. That's right, if you haven't guessed it by now, I'm talking about a skinwalker, and his name is Akemtum. First of all, I don't talk about lore that often here on the channel, but man, I'm not going to read it all to you guys. Don't worry, don't fast forward. Well, he used to be a slum dweller, feeling forever trapped between the inner rot and the outer desert. He was a nobody who became a thief and then a killer. His methods, including using metal claws to slash his targets to ribbons while they slept or were otherwise vulnerable. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. He ended up going to battle against this big Spynx cat. He killed it, and then the soul of the Spynx took him over and condemned him into what we see today. I always thought it was kind of Wolverine turned into a cat. That's what I thought it was. Anyway, it's Akemtum. Regardless of the lore on this dude, he is absolutely insanely good. Today I'm going to show you the build that I use this guy for, and I'm going to rapid fire through a bunch of content, giving you guys hopefully a little bit of motivation to take this dude out the vault. I think that's wrong, right? No one has this guy in the vault. But to really invest in Akemtum and get excited when you pull Akemtum, empower Akemtum, and just overall appreciate Akemtum, okay? I can't stop calling him a rat. This little dude, this little cat actually looks amazing. I love the aesthetics on him. Seriously, like those, I don't know. It's somewhere between Edward Scissorhands and Wolverine with the poison claws and just the overall aesthetic with the daggers or whatever on his shoulders is so cool. But what about his kit, right? He's squishy, whatever. He's really not about the stats on this champion. It's about his simple but insanely effective kit. His Noxious Claws A1 is a triple hitter. His A2 is an AoE triple hitter, and that's all he's got. So triple hitters galore. That's a great Giant Slayer candidate, but we're not going to be running him in Giant Slayer today. More on that in a moment. Each of the 3 hits has an independent 50% chance when booked of placing a poison big version for 2 turns. If the target's under a hex, also each hit has a 50% chance of taking a debuff spread, taking 1 ram debuff, and placing it on all enemies. What a great A1 ability, and it gets even better when we talk about his passive. On the A2, Immortal Malison attacks all enemies 3 times, 5-turn cooldown, but booked down to a 3-turn. Each hit has a 75% chance when booked, 80 with the Sniper Mastery, of placing a hex, of increasing the direction of hex on all enemies by 1 turn. If they're not under the hex, then he has a chance of placing those hexes. The fact that it's on each hit, basically it's a 100% chance. It's very unlikely that an enemy would walk away without the hex. Keep in mind, he's Void Affinity. We don't have to worry about any weak or negative affinity matchups, right? On his Hex Blood, his passive, this is where the magic all happens on our little Sphinxy here, Akemtum. Sphinxy. It reminds me of Jinxie Cat from Meet the Parents. I'm not a huge comedy movie dude, but Meet the Parents, man, it never gets old. It really holds up. It's beautiful with Stiller and De Niro and whatnot.
Have you ever watched pornographic videos?
No.
Relax, the needles are jumping.
Anyway, Jinxie Cat, we have Hex Blood, 100% chance of inflicting damage from 1 poison debuff to enemies under Hex. Whenever their allies receive damage from poison, this is bonkers. This allows him, with no cooldown here, and booked out to 100%, he's just constantly churning out more and more and more and more and more A1 abilities, right? Speaking of A1 abilities, listen, guys, talking about quality of life in Raid Shadow Legends, this could be a huge one, and I don't understand why they don't do it, but put the multipliers in game. Why is it a secret? You know, why is it a secret? I guess, not to answer my own question, to be that guy, I guess it's a secret because they want us to invest in the champions and then find out how much damage they do, right? Like, think about all the lousy champions with sky-high attack. I'm looking at you, Bystophis. Quick addendum here. You guys see Bystophis is, man, like this guy, to me, he's the poster child. 1795 on the attack, and he hits like a wet noodle, man. Anyway, I digress. Akemtum, 4.5 overall score. I totally agree with that grade on hellhades.com. He has a 1.1. Seriously, this was what threw me off on Akemtum, right? And this is not a knock on the website or whatever, but they give him a weak overall damage grading. But I find them to be very opposite, right? Maybe each individual hit, in and of themselves on Akemtum isn't going to blow you away. He's not going to be hitting for 1 million damage or anything crazy like that. Moreover, no 500,000, whatever. But all of these freaking hits add up, and keep in mind, they're triple hitters. He has a 1 on the AoE, but it's 3 hits. If you have Giant Slayer, that's 3 opportunities to proc Giant Slayer in addition to that, right? Not to mention the poisons and everything else that we talked about on this in this kit. Get the freaking Bystofus out of here. Let me show you my favorite Akemtum build. Now, this is not going to be an elite damage dealing build at all. So keep in mind that the insane, incredible damage numbers that you guys see in this video from this little pussycat are going to be basically the worst case scenario. Well, I can't say that. He's fully empowered and fully awakened. You've been warned, right? So he does have good stats here on my account. That being said, in Savage or Lethal gear, this dude is a menace in terms of DPS, in terms of damage potential. He really is elite. He can out-damage some of the quintessential epic damage dealers out there when you add in that passive constantly churning away during battle. So my favorite build, with all that said, is definitely a stun set on Akemtum, man. Now listen, even in content like Doom Tower waves, like Cintranos waves, where you're not normally looking for stun, like outside of that content, Faction Wars, right? I still like to run this dude in a stun set. Even if you were using him in, say, like the arena, he's not an elite arena champion, but you can still have some really nasty things, including incredible control. Why in a stun set? Why is stun set so good on Akemtum? I have 2 pinpoint accessories, the ring and the amulet, which I'm doing basically on all my champions at this point. Rebirth, Chronophage, pinpoint. I'm using them on the ring and the amulet. It's really making other accessories feel nearly debunked, at least on the rings and the amulets if I have them on my account, right? Getting that extra 10% speed is just bonkers. Anyway, stun perception. We want accuracy. Well, speed, crit rate, crit damage, right? And survivability if you don't have a reviver, a healer, or some sort of, way to keep this dude alive. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with going HP, on the ring just to add a little bit of HP to this dude. Because I have him empowered and awakened, I really don't need the extra HP on this particular build, but trust me, can still get a lot of damage and not totally ignore HP on him. Attack, crit damage on the amulet, attack on the banner. We have speed on the boots, attack percentage on the chest, and crit rate on the gauntlets. That's another thing on this build, guys. I got my man in crit rate on the gauntlets, meaning he's not built to be a nuker. I keep repeating this because his damage is still going to be insane regardless, okay? I have an Arakan Elixir on this guy. His poison debuffs deal bonus damage equal to 50, make it 90% of his attack. That's why we really want to focus on the attack. You need to run this dude in Arakan Elixir. We think of Arakan Elixir, we think of Calvalax and Nels in the arena, but it certainly still works and still can add up in a big way in PvE as well. We have Phantom Touch on him. He's a triple hitter. I'm using him in Fire Knight. He's available, by the way. I didn't close the thing. 56 in Toronto's hard stages. So can definitely get a lot of utility out of this guy once you invest in him, right? I'm going with Phantom Touch. Of course, you can go Cruelty on this guy as well. Totally works. My man has a speed in all battles aura by 18%. You couldn't give him the 19 like everybody else. 18, really? Or even the 20 like Uragrim? Anyway, I digress. Of course, we have my man built to be a stunner, a control champion, the #1 stunner. And check it out. Crit rate all the way down to methodical. We picked up a little ruthless ambush, a little cycle of violence. Now, I will say, nothing wrong with going Heart of Glory and single out, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with just going with the accuracy masteries. That way we can go down and pick up the Master Hexer, pick up the Sniper, depending on how we have him built as well. The most important thing, though, for this particular build is to go down the defense tree, right? Go down the defense tree and end with these 3, this little, I don't know, what is this? It's not an L. Is it this little triangle? How about that? This little triangle. We've got a Harvest Despair, Retribution, Deterrence, and Fearsome Presence. Harvest Despair is going to allow my man to place leeches for days. So now my guy's a healer because he's going to be placing so many dang stuns in this stun set, okay? So now we're placing a 60% chance leech at the same time. Every time you pick up a Fearsome Presence for PvE, you want to pick up Harvest to Spare as well, right? And then all the extra counterattacks with Retribution and deterrence to put even more poisons out onto the battlefield with those triple hitters. Now, if it wasn't going to run them in a stun set, I'd absolutely come down, I'd come down the offensive tree, I'd go single out, I'd go Heart of Glory, and then I would go with Kill Streak and I would end with Giant Slayer, okay? Because this guy can deal a lot of damage with that Giant Slayer with his a combo of 2 triple hitters in his kit. He's a beast. Literally and figuratively. Let's go ahead and go into battle here. And like I said, I'm just going to start using him basically everywhere I use him, right? Everywhere you can use him. Cintranos, just a random stage here. Just going to throw him on. Let's see what he can do here. Let's just check this. Let's check this guy out, right? Starting out with a few stuns. He's going to go in there, taking a tick of poison. He's going to go in. And this is the beautiful thing in this stun set. Why is he so good? Because every time, and I repeat, every time he goes in on that passive, you can see he's doing it a lot here already. We almost saw the Solar Eclipse, which is an Ugo Revive. There was one time when I was recording, I think it was building a random team out of random shards, and we saw an Ugo Revive. You would have thought I pulled the world's best mythical champion the way I reacted. It's an Ugo Revive! If you get an Ugo Revive, go play the damn lottery. You're already playing Raid Shadow Legends. Gamble some more, okay? Pull that lever on that slot machine, because if you see an Ugo Revive, that's your lucky day. Ask your girlfriend to marry her. When you see the Ugo Revive, you know that the light of Teleria and the world is shining upon thyself, okay? The Ugo Revive. If you see the Ugo Revive, you got to act on it. Anyway, Akemtum in the background here is dishing out hexes for days, poisons for days, stuns for days, and leeches for days. He's a one-man wrecking crew. This Spynx cat, is insane. Okay, it's just a random awakened stage in Cintranos, just to warm you guys up, a little appetizer. I'm not gonna make you sit through some wave content in Fire Knight, but let's throw them in a good old Fire Knight team here with Dark Kale, Dirty Diana, Tagore, and Neldor Rhineblade. You know what, guys? Let's just upgrade to hard. I mean, we could certainly tackle stage 2 of hard, right? I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. I'm gonna click that super raids, even though I'm not entirely sure. I'll come back to him when we get to the Fire Knight. All right, guys, here we go against the Fire Knight. Can we take him down? I have an updated Fire Knight guide if anybody's looking for some help on this dungeon as well. I still think it's the most challenging dungeon out of all the old schools out there, not including like Phantom Shogun and Iron Twins and Sand Devil. Anyway, we get that shield down like right away. And we start dealing some poisons. Why not, right? He's going to heal himself back up. But we have a lot of triple hitters, right? Akemtum has the double triple hitter. I mean, this dude, you could just run him in, obviously the stun set's not going to help you right here, but you could just run Akemtum in like a Relentless if you wanted to and just abuse, especially with the Phantom Touch, just abuse that Fire Knight. Look at him go, man. Dishing out those hexes, dishing out those poisons. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Akemtum is such a little beast, man. This team, we could have probably taken down Fire Knight hard 10. Okay, we couldn't have, but I'll say it, right? It sounds good. If you could, then why don't you do it, Ash? Check it out, man. Akemtum, Neldor in full Savage gear, Diana, Dirty Diana in Savage and Cruel, and Akemtum with no nuking gear on, with freaking crit rates on the gauntlets, pulls out 2 million damage. Man, what a beast. What a freaking beast, dude. He synergizes beautifully, obviously, with any poisoner out there. I like him with Dark Kale because Dark Kale can go in there and dish out the poison single target, poison sensitivity, and he can activate those poisons on the A1 as well. So there's a nice little combo play. Another combo that I really like with this dude, guys, is Uragrim, right? Uragrim's another epic champion, and he's dishing out 2 poisons on all enemies for 2 turns. He's also healing. He also has poisons on his A1. So I really love Uragrim. Obviously, the best AoE poisoner out of any single epic in the game by far is Taurus, okay? So if you're looking for poisoners, Taurus has the Toxic Nova, where he's dishing out 4 poisons on all enemies on a 4-turn cooldown. He's insane, man. He's insane. He's like a tomb lord of epic champions there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into a quick Dragon's Lair. I'll come back when we get to the boss again. I've got Michelangelo, I've got Ursula the Mourner, I've got Staltus, Dragonbane, Dark Kale, and Akemtum. Let's go ahead and come back. This is Dragon Hard 10. I'm gonna come back when we're at the dragon. All right, guys, just want to come back at the wave. And again, look at him. Every time the passive triggers like it just did, He's going to go in and place a poison with his passive. I mean, obviously he's using his A1, but it's the passive that's triggering, and he's dishing out more stuns. I say poison, well, poison and stuns. He's like a little Energizer bunny, rabbit, Spynx, rat, you know? Goes in there, and every single time that an enemy ticks poison, he goes in and potentially lands a stun and a leech and more poisons. Isn't that beautiful? Here we go against the dragon. Already going down. Stalt is going to do the heavy lifting. Everyone else is going to wipe out, I believe, here. Mikey's doing a pretty good job here, too, man. Mikey's a pretty good all-around Ninja Turtle to use, basically anywhere in the game, you know? Well, for the most part. Maybe not anywhere, but he's pretty versatile, right? Okay, so now everybody starts dying. Actually, we have the Reviver. I don't run a lot of Ursula the Mourner, but she's kind of fun, man. She's a really good Reviver. Her Revive alone is really one of the best in the entire game, like including legendaries and mythicals and whatnot, right? Just such survivability. It's a beautiful move for the entire team. Look at all those poisons. I love it. You can use Akemtum in Hydra Clan Boss, especially because of the Hex. He's really one of the best Hex appliers because he can also extend in the entire game, man. Akemtum, 2.7 million damage. Eat that, Staltus and Dark Kale and Michelangelo. My word. This is why I just kept hemming and hawing and tripping over myself talking about, well, guys, just keep in mind, when you see the damage, he's not going to be built for damage, but there's going to be a lot of damage. Because there's a lot of damage, he's not built for damage. That's how powerful this guy is. That's how much all those triple hits can add up, man. You know what I want to do is, I want to go to Ice Golem. Be right back. All right, guys, approaching Ice Golem Hard 10. We have Mithrala Lifebane, we have Rector Drath, we have Akemtum, obviously. We got Deke. And we have Skrank as our burner on the team, right? I like this team because when you're combining poisons and burns against the Ice Golem, keep in mind that all of the big auto attacks that he has, what passive is this damn thing? Here we go. All of these big swings, these big attacks that the Ice Golem automatically does when his HP drops below a certain threshold, they're only triggered by damage from skills. So the poisons and the burns, they're not going to trigger those big swings, right? Moreover, with Akemtum on the squad, in this build, we're going to have auto lockdown stuns on both of the minions. They're not going to be able to even do anything, which is really nice. Same thing, by the way, applies to, I honestly forgot if Skinwalkers has the minions on the red boss or not, but any boss with minions, Akemtum is going to keep them locked down because anybody takes a tick of poison, he's going to go in there and reapply that stun with the A1 ability, right? Now, I'm very curious to see if he'll outdamage Skrank, who I have built like a nuker, and he has all those burns as well. Skrank is really low-key one of my favorite epic burners in the game. For me, the big three are Mordecai, Skrank, and I don't know. I guess how he did not include Geomancer, even though he's not an AoE burner in the conversation. I like Frenzy the Cackler as well. But there's not a lot of really good epic burners out there. Anyway, I digress again. But yeah, you guys get the point, man. Like, listen, I like Mithrala, by the way, because her A1 has more poisons. We're just looking for the more poisons, the better, because you dish him with poisoners, you can see here, again, I mean, he's just going to keep going back with more and more attacks. Again, Giant Slayer will be adding hundreds of thousands of damage in addition to the numbers that you're already seeing, right? Crit damage on the gauntlets, you know? Screw it, guys. You know what I'm going to do? Because you watched till the end, it's just me and you. Everybody else tuned out like 20 minutes ago when I started talking about, I don't know, cats and sphinxes and whatnot. I'm going to build him as a nuker now. And I'm going to run the same run. I just want to compare the damage, right? I have no idea what will happen, but let's go ahead and change builds on him, and we'll compare the numbers right now at the end of the video. So here he goes. This team, man, Ice Golem Hard 10 is not an easy boss, but this squad makes it seem... You know what? That was the most beautiful ending I could ever hope for to a video. Guys, look it. Ice Golem's an easy boss, and this team's making mincemeat out of him. We've all been there. It worked well in rehearsal. Either way, my man has 3.1 million damage. He's actually well out damaged by Skrank and Deke here. Let's Listen, because we didn't win that battle, I do want to go back to Dragon's Lair. I want to run them in the same team, but I want to put them in nuker gear and just take a look at the difference. Be right back. All right, guys, I've changed to a nuker build, okay? So we changed our masteries. This is how I built him for a pure damage dealer, by the way. And then we went in. We're still going to keep Phantom Touch here. I still have a Rack and Elixir on him, still at level 9. And then I changed the gear to Savage and Cruel gear with crit damage on the gauntlets instead, okay? We're going to rerun it, and I'm actually going to keep you guys with me through the waves. And we're just going to take a look to see what he can do. If we notice, I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't looking at the individual damage, that he was doing there. So it's hard to say if it's significantly more or not. But this might inform for you guys whether or not you want to build your Akemtum in a permanent stun set, or if you want to, swap him out or just build him as a permanent nuker, right? So anyway, here we go. I would say, though, if you want to use him in Hydra, personally, I might just go. You have some options, right? You could go with Merciless. I think Merciless is probably going to be the way to go because you get that cooldown reduction on that A2, potentially to a 2-turn cooldown because of when you're dealing damage, you have that kind of built-in refresh, or reflex, I should say, I guess. So I would build him in Merciless for Hydra. And I think Merciless might be, surprise, surprise, the best build overall for Akemtum. I think that if I had to handicap the very best build, it would indeed be a 9-piece Merciless. But look at all that damage, man. This is why I didn't hate on the Hades website giving the weak overall grading. It's not like it's an objective thing. They're just running the numbers through the through whatever filter they're putting in for the damage rating. That being said, though, it doesn't feel weak to me, because he's just attacking so dang much. All right, can we get that blue? Yeah, we can. The purple. Blue? Purple, Ash. That's purple. Let's get that purple damn bar down. And then okay, so let's just see what he did. Basically what happened last match, right? To the 9s, exactly. All right. Get the damage. Get the kill. One more turn. You just wait for the dragons. The dragons, take a turn so this can be over, man. Take that damage. There we go. Kale finished it off with the A1. 4.9 million. Definitely made a big difference in the overall damage numbers. So yeah, this dude can out-nuke legendaries left and right. That's insane, man. That's insane. That's insane. Akemtum is an absolute beast damage dealer. Hard to say he's like a nuker. He's a damage dealer, man. Hope you enjoyed this guide. I hope it gave you, again, a little motivation to take your Akemtum. Start putting them in your main teams. You might just be surprised like I was. Guys, thanks for watching the video till the end. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.
You spray painted his tail to make him look like Jinxie, didn't you, fucker?
Greg, what's he talking about?